welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to give you a quick little tour of my home office slash creative space. Now, this room wasn't really intended to be an office. It's more of like a storage room, I guess, if you will, because it has like the laundry in there too. But one thing I really wanted in my apartment was to have my workspace be separate from my living space. So I kind of ended up makeshifting this smaller storage room, I guess, if you will, into a home office. And I wanted to give you a quick little tour and then also share some of my tips for how you can make smaller spaces work. Fun fact, before I went into graphic design and became a graphic designer, I took an interior decorating course because I thought I might want to go down that route of interior decorating, interior design, but I didn't end up going there. So I do know a few things about interiors and like what makes a room work slash what doesn't make a room work. So I'll just share, you know, some of my tips in the second half of today's video. Welcome, step on into my office space. So these shelves were built in already and I kind of wanted to take advantage of them, and they were the perfect height to be able to fit a computer underneath, which is great. So I was able to tuck my desk away underneath the shelves, and what I honestly love is the length of the shelves lines up perfectly with the desk. So it's like it was made for this spot, which is just absolutely perfect. So I try to keep my desk as clutter-free as possible and just keep my essentials on there. Moving up, so I ended up styling a few of my books across here, and I just really wanted to keep it as clean and organized looking as possible, because I think sometimes with bookshelves it can get overwhelming quite quickly, but I just wanted to sort of stack them all up in similar color schemes, I guess, if you will, and have them in those neat little piles that are all sort of even, and I think that really helps. And then moving on up, we have a couple of baskets as well, which are perfect for tucking away cords or excess things that you don't want maybe cluttering up your desk space. And I also think, you know, adding in some sort of greenery can help bring a space a long way as well and just add some life to it. Even if, you know, if you're using fake plants or real plants, I just think it all does the same trick where you're just adding a little bit of freshness to a space, maybe a couple little knickknacks. So I have like a little Buddha in the corner there too. And once again, not incredibly cluttered looking. I think it's just perfect. Now in behind the desk, so I do have a nice window in here too, which is great. So I just added a white curtain to it because I think that just keeps it also quite bright and fresh. I didn't want to add dark colors to this space because it is quite small. So having a nice white sheer curtain still allows a lot of the natural light through, and it gives me a little bit of privacy, but also, you know, having the light is very important to me. This lamp I actually found, someone was just throwing it away on the street, so I grabbed it because I thought it went nicely in this corner and matched obviously with the brighter colors. And because this is sort of like a utility slash storage room as well, I have all my laundry hookups back there, and I wanted to cover them as much as possible, which is why I put the dresser here. And then I thought the light kind of did the trick, masking the rest of it. And then over on this side, so in behind the desk, we have the big dresser, and this is where I keep a ton of my equipment and just excess things. So it's just a great little storage space for me. Obviously opting for, you know, closed drawers rather than having something open because it just keeps it looking a lot more clean and fresh, and adding another little bit of greenery again. So I think adding darker colors in smaller amounts can really go a long way to add that contrast. So I think this works really nicely here, and I didn't want to clutter up the top of that too much either. And a cute little picture frame. We'll get a picture for it at some point. And if you're looking at the space from the back corner, so I do have my laundry machine here, as this was a storage slash utility room. So I think, you know, even having the white dresser next to that works well together because it's all white. So kind of keeping on that theme. Yeah, otherwise that's a quick little tour of the space. So when I first moved in, I was actually debating making this space be more of a closet and a storage room. So having, you know, a lot of my like winter gear and shoe storage and all of that jazz in that space. But as I said, you know, I really wanted my living space and my workspace to be separate. So when I pulled my desk in there, I was like, you know what, I can make this work. And I think when you're like decorating up a small space, there's a few things that you can do to make it work and not make it seem as tight and as crammed. And my number one tip would be to use lighter colors. Make things fresh, make things light. In the design world, you know, whether you're in interior design or graphic design, there's something called visual weight. And I think if you were to take this space and have all dark furniture, because I used a lot of whites and brighter colors and I have like the freshness of like the greenery, I think it really makes it work. But if I were to have black furniture in there, like a black dresser, all of these darker accents, that can make a room seem a lot smaller because it's visually more heavy than if you are using things that are light, that are fresh, and that sort of brighten up the space. So if you are trying to pull together a darker or a smaller space, that's definitely a little tip to keep in mind. Another little thing that I made sure to do was getting rid of like any visual clutter, because I think that's something as well that can really make a room feel heavier, feel more crammed, feel smaller. So making sure all of my surfaces are nice and cleared off, and even things like I made sure that I had a dresser in there where the drawers, like everything could be stored away perfectly fine, rather than having open shelves, if that makes sense, because a lot of times with open shelves, like you have a lot of things going on there which can make things possibly seem a little bit more cluttered. And if your room is smaller, that's a lot for the eye. You know, it's just drawn to the things that are open and might have that like visual clutter going on. So yeah, making sure all of the surfaces are nice and cleared off, and having like, for me, having that white dresser sort of just like keeps everything concealed and keeps all of like anything that would be cluttering up my space, I can just kind of tuck it away within the drawers and use that as storage, while it also keeps everything just super bright and fresh. I also use things like baskets just so I can tuck away things in there as well, like anything that might be odds and ends or loose, just pop them in a basket, and that's a great way to get rid of some of that clutter as well and keep things looking a little bit more streamlined. And my final tip, kind of rolling off of the clutter, is basically just try as best as you can to keep your surfaces really clear, because that's what's going to make it seem a lot more spacious and open rather than having all of your things loaded everywhere. So for instance, on top of my dresser, I could have had, you know, things going on there, but I really just wanted to keep it very, very clean and not overwhelm it. So just a simple plant and then a picture frame, which I have yet to put a picture in there yet, but we'll get there. We're getting there. And then on the shelves, these were actually built in when I moved in, but having everything like in place and super organized within those shelves rather than just having like stuff galore and things going on can help make things seem a lot more clean and open. And I try to be very mindful of my desktop too, because that can tend to clutter up quite quickly. So taking advantage of the drawers, and as I said, taking advantage of the baskets too, where I can just tuck away any cords or loose ends or anything like that, is very, very helpful. So I hope you enjoyed my little office / creative space tour. Maybe it gave you some ideas of how you could transform a small little space within your own home into maybe a home office, or I don't know, whatever kind of space you need. But you can definitely make it work, and I love my little office space, so I'm very happy that I decided to have it as its own separate room, and I was able to find a way to make it work. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.